Anyway, tonight it's Harvard 2, Trump 0. We're going to be talking about how a judge ruled that Trump illegally canceled Harvard's funding, and one of the Department of Justice attorneys suing Harvard and his particular interest in Adolf Hitler. That's right. One of Donald Trump's lawyers currently taking Harvard to task for its anti-Semitism is a lover of Adolf Hitler. Interesting. I guess it takes one to know one. Like it takes a real anti-Semite to figure out growing anti-Semitism.
Harvard 2, Trump 0. A federal judge finding the administration broke the law by freezing billions of dollars in research funding at the school in the name of fighting anti-Semitism. Now, it's the same judge who blocked Trump's ban on international students at the school in June. There are other schools that have not settled with Trump but have had their money frozen. It does seem to indicate that there is some benefit, potentially, to just fighting and seeing where the chips fall.
Absolutely. I mean, I think there's benefit in a couple of different levels. One, it's just the correct thing to do if you are an institution of higher learning, to stand up and say you're not going to be controlled by the federal government, that the First Amendment means something.
Wow.
Beyond that, there's every, reason to believe.
Wow, it's shocking. It turns out it's actually good to fight against the Trump administration, just on principle, But it turns out you can also be successful as well because they haven't been able to completely destroy the existing courts process. Wow, let me tell you how shocked I am about this. Wow, every single administration that caved and capitulated to the ridiculous demands being made by Donald Trump are charlatans. They're cowards. Even if they were to lose, they should have still put up a fight. The fact that they obeyed in advance is insane to me.
That if you settle, the amount you're going to have to pay is going to be very significant. And it's going to be much harder, I think, to get your alumni network and other donors to rally once you've settled versus if you're fighting the good fight on behalf of the First Amendment and academic freedom. And it's interesting, further on in the judge's decision, she references that there could be, we don't know, many Jewish people who have been fired because of the potential cuts in funding, that research into conditions that affect the Jewish community.
Yeah, it's also like Jewish students were expelled in this process for being anti-Zionist. It's just so stupid. Jewish teachers were Jewish teachers had their curriculum changed because they were teaching people about genocide. It's so insane. It's just none of it ever made any sense. And I cannot believe that so many people just simply went along with it. And a big part of that is thanks to the Biden administration that set the stage for this. They basically propped it up. They lobbed it up for the Trump administration to take the alley-oop and dunk it.
More than others may be.
Because everyone needs a good Jewish doctor. Right?
And that research may be hampered, and that that withholding the funds could have a more negative impact on the Jewish community.
So let me read what the judge said. Make no mistake, Harvard rejects anti-Semitism and discrimination in all of its forms.
Than others may be.
Because everyone needs a good Jewish doctor. Right?
And that research may.
I mean, the dude saying is probably Jewish, but also they're boomers, man. Who gives a shit? I don't care. He's
be hampered, and that withholding the funds could have a more negative impact on the Jewish community.
So let me read what the judge said. Make no mistake, Harvard rejects anti-Semitism and discrimination in all of its form. Excuse me, this is what the Harvard statement says. Harvard rejects anti-Semitism and discrimination in all its forms, actively making structural reforms to eradicate anti-Semitism on campus. But rather than engage with Harvard regarding those ongoing efforts, the government announced a sweeping freeze of funding for medical, scientific, technological, and other research that had nothing at all to do with anti-Semitism. And it does raise the question of, did the administration really try, in good faith, to work with Harvard to rectify the problem, to resolve the anti-Semitism problem, or was the goal to try to get other money? First of all, money being the main goal, because Trump has said he wants a certain dollar amount.
Well, they obviously work with other colleges to get concessions on making changes on campus. That had obviously on.
This is the problem and the limitations with liberalism, by the way, in general, like an endless support for Israel, is that liberal administrations themselves made concessions on the dangerous conflation of Zionism and Judaism, and therefore they left themselves open for tremendous amounts of attack because they were also invested in like purging anti-Semitism, or rather not anti-Semitism, but anti-Israel sentiment on college campuses. And I've yet to see a single serious synopsis from any mainstream institution that has looked at this with a little bit of honesty. Not a single one of these guys at the New York Times or CNN, even on this panel, not a single one of them go, hey, I hate to be the bearer of bad news here, but we have to take some accountability and realize that our endless, unlimited advocacy to make sure that people could just like promote Israel when it was doing completely evil shit, created this environment and allowed the Trump administration to cynically weaponize fears of anti-Semitism that were also cynically weaponized in the administration prior, maybe not to the same degree, but cynically weaponize fears of anti-Semitism and do away with funding for these institutions. That's it. You have to be truthful. You have to be honest. If you can't do anything else, you have to just say the truth. And it was so frustrating for me when the Biden administration was in charge and Israel was doing death and destruction, unlimited death and destruction. And they arrested 3,500 student protesters under the Biden administration, claiming that they were being anti-Semitic. If that is your starting point, then you don't have a lot of disagreements with Scott Jennings. There is no disagreement there with the liberal panelists and the Republican one. The Republican one is at least trying to take the initiative to combat it. If you also believe being anti-Israel is anti-Semitic and it needs to be dealt with, then why the fuck are you complaining that Trump is dealing with it, right?
The campuses that had obviously made serious mistakes. My view is there'll be an appeal. I don't know where the legal case is going to shake out. I think.
Yeah, no, it's true. As is the case with a lot of stuff. As is the case with a lot of American politics that revolves around the left flank of the duopoly, consistently conceding to the framework of the right that the right-wing position is more logically coherent than the liberal position. That's it. If you think that anti-Semitism is a major problem on these college campuses, then why shouldn't the Trump administration actually try to punish these places? Maybe you also don't think anti-Semitism was a huge problem on these campuses. Maybe you didn't think that at all. Maybe you just wanted the annoying students to shut the fuck up and let you love your favorite apartheid state in peace, because allowing them to continue protesting on campus with very reasonable demands was creating this unique problem that your donors were very frustrated by. A demand for divestment was honest. It came from an honest place. Just like saying Israel is a genocidal state is an honest statement. It's just the truth. Israel's doing a genocide. Israel's an apartheid state before it even did this genocide, this version of the genocide. And the students that were trying to actively rid their institution of higher learning and its entanglements with this apartheid state doing a genocide were correct. They were right. But you didn't want to do it because of your own financial investments.
This has been really embarrassing for Harvard. I mean, now you have a federal judge saying anti-Semitism is intolerable. It is clear, even based solely on Harvard's own admission, that Harvard has been plagued by anti-Semitism, could have done a better job dealing with the issue. I mean, it is now widely known throughout our entire society that our nation's flagship university, perhaps formerly, was plagued by anti-Semitism.
See? Yeah, there you go. No, you deserve it. If you're a libtard and you're sitting on that panel and you spent any moment leaning into this bullshit narrative, you deserve to get talked down to by Scott Jennings, because he is a demon, but at least he's more morally consistent on this issue. That's it. Scumbags. All of them.
This administration was willing to call it out and fight it out. It's a fight worth having.
As you just read, Harvard acknowledged that in a very lengthy report that it created itself.
But they would never have done it if it hadn't been for Trump.
To your point,
they would never have admitted it if it hadn't been for Trump.
See, he's right. He's right. Liberals are too cowardly to actually take the initiative and combat anti-Semitism, unlike my big, beautiful Trump, who cares about anti-Semitism.
Trump. That's not true.
That's not
to
true.
What you just read.
That's not true.
Exactly. Chronologically, factually, that's not true. What you just read indicated that yes, it is embarrassing to Harvard, but Harvard themselves acknowledged it.
I think the real embarrassment to Harvard was Harvard itself acknowledging that there was like a significant crisis of anti-Semitism on their college campuses a real shame. Obviously, there are worse villains here. Obviously, there are significantly worse actors here. Columbia has tarnished what remains of its legacy forever. It's over. Harvard itself also capitulated to the administration early on. They restructured their Middle Eastern Studies department. That doesn't get a lot of play here. They don't talk about that. When Trump made demands, Harvard first capitulated. Only after they came for the grants did Harvard actually choose to fight back. Columbia didn't even do that. So there is another institution out there that's even worse than Harvard, and that's Columbia. But it's bullshit. These guys showed the world that they don't care about their students. They don't care about protecting the well-being of their students at all. Because if they did, they would have come out and said, you're being ridiculous. There is a level of anti-Semitism that exists in all facets of American society. Our college campuses, by your own admission, are way more woke than the average place, than the Jiffy Lube down the corner. The notion that there was a tremendous amount of increased anti-Semitism on college campuses is completely and utterly ridiculous. It is a cultivated fake narrative. The real issue on these college campuses is that Zionist groups were doxing students, harming them openly. They had doxing trucks on like October 9, 2023, plastering people's faces on college campuses for writing an editorial piece that was damn near identical to Haaretz's editorial piece, like almost identical. It's incredible, man.
Created an entire report
to
try to figure out what to do about it. And the question again for the Trump administration is, are they really serious on the anti-Semitism piece? And if they were,
yes, I can assure you.
Would they not be serious about wanting to fix the problem
Right.
rather than
Here's
get
the
a
part that's
dollar
amazing.
amount out
It's
of Harvard?
amazing to me that like we're cheerleading for Harvard, standing up to the Trump administration, but we're not saying that they should have done that to anti-Semitism when it was rampant on their campuses, to the point where Jewish students had to sue the university. So it's like, we're going to stand up to Donald Trump. We're going to.
Like, I need someone to say with their whole chest that, like, your hysterical posturing doesn't change the reality of this genocide. Anytime I hear a motherfucker chirp like this, I want to be like, answer my question. Do you think Israel's an apartheid state, or do you disagree with every human rights organization and the UN? Answer my question. Do you think Israel is doing a genocide, or do you disagree with every human rights organization and the UN and also every genocide scholar, pretty much? Why should I listen to your hysterical posturing when it's very obviously done at the behest of defending an apartheid state's genocidal campaign of ethnic cleansing? Nobody ever seems to say this. Nobody ever seems to ask this question, because that's precisely what this is. Like I said, people are not stupid. People have the capacity to see right from wrong. There's only so much posturing that works. Americans also have a tendency to hate smarmy, entitled woke scolds. And that's like the biggest weapon that Israel defenders have, is just constantly crying to the manager, constantly looking to fire someone, constantly looking to silence their opposition by saying like, you're anti-Semitic. Shut the fuck up.
We're going to fight. By the way, I'm going to make a prediction. Donald Trump's going to win this one. It's going to be a win for him. It will be appealed. He will win. But again, you go back to Harvard's sin. The sin was they created a university and an atmosphere where Jewish students did not feel safe to the point where they had to sue. Now we have a judge saying that this is a place that was not safe for Jewish students. And people are like, well, at least Harvard.
And I mean this when I say this, and I've repeated it before. While this is untrue, if every single Jewish student was like, I love Israel, it's a very important part of my identity, which it's not even the case, right? But even if it was, these people that were saying, you for being pro-Israel would still be right. It doesn't matter. You can package that with any kind of ism. You could say it's anti-Semitism. You could say it's scary. You could say it's hurting people's feelings. It doesn't matter. None of it matters. You're just crying. And we have somehow decided that your tears, your fake tears, your crocodile tears, is more important and more impactful than the truth. It's more important and more impactful than all of the hundreds of thousands of Palestinians that have been killed so far by the state that you have to defend. I don't give a shit if it's a significant part of your existence, a significant part of your identity. That's your problem. You got to deal with that, dumbass. The f do you mean? I don't give a shit about your feelings. It's a genocide. Suck my dick. And it's such a laughable notion, too. The idea that Jewish students felt unsafe at Harvard, or unsafe in New York City at Columbia University. It is a laughable idea. It is the most patently absurd, nonsensical statement I have ever heard in my entire life, dude. What the do you mean? It's like white people saying I'm unsafe at like James Madison University. Excuse me, as a white Christian, I feel unsafe. The f are you talking about? It's too woke. These campuses are too woke. I feel unsafe as a white Christian, honest, God-fearing man. I'm terrified at JMU campus. What the f? At Liberty University campus has gone too woke.
No one is saying that anti-Semitism is okay. And Harvard itself
But we're
has
overlooking it because we're standing up to Trump.
Absolutely not. Absolutely. The judge herself
You
has
said
said...
a second ago, I'm glad they're standing up to Trump.
I am glad they are.
Why
and
not?
I'm
I'm
also
glad that Harvard has been reprimanded because they
I am
put
also
kids'
glad that
lives at risk at Harvard.
I'm
Because
also
they're
glad
Jewish.
that there is a plan for promulgated by
I don't think
Harvard.
you guys are talking about both. You're talking about one.
I just started. I
It
just
is-
started.
I agree
We're
with
in
you, but I'm
the
saying
middle of
both.
the
Okay. But she's saying it's
often at
about
this
I was
them.
asked a question and
Often
I
at this
answered.
table, a failure to hold multiple ideas at the in our minds at the same time.
Oh, they do say shit like that. I live in VA. Some white dude said that at a party I was at. Yeah, but nobody takes that seriously is my point. At least until now. This administration might start taking that sincerely as well. But do you see what I mean? When someone says, oh, I'm a Jewish student and I love Israel and I feel unsafe that people are saying Israel is a genocidal state or is a Nazi state. I feel unsafe. People go, oh my God, do you feel unsafe? We should kill every student that has hurt your feelings. We should arrest them. We should jail them. We should expel them. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that you feel that way. When a white Christian, when like a Republican Mormon guy at BYU turns around and says, I feel unsafe. I can't practice my religion any longer. BYU is too woke. You would laugh at that person. You'd be like, shut the fuck up, dude. The fuck do you mean? Go soak your girlfriend, dipshit. The fuck are you talking about? Oh, you feel unsafe? We got to deport these people. Suck my dick. Like the situation with Israel's genocide is such a clear-cut, severe wrong that it's like even the like real instances of anti-Semitism are not enough to make up for this like moral wrong. Like, what are we talking about? Like, what do you mean? Oh, there's anti-Semitism. Okay, what do you want me to do? Shut the fuck up about Israel slaughtering children? Get the fuck out of here. It's ridiculous. It is completely ridiculous. As I've said before, the reason why you hate anti-Semitism, the reason why you hate all manner of bigotry is because that kind of dehumanization can lead to the type of violence that Israel is doing to the Palestinians right now. What the fuck are we talking about? That's real violence. That's not hypothetical violence in the future, or that's not real violence that took place against Jews in the past. That's real violence happening right now. You can't say, oh, I feel unsafe. Hypothetically, some violence might come my way for defending the genocidal apartheid state right now as a mechanism to defend Israel. Like, that's ridiculous.
Is the reason that we end up in these back and forths. But it is possible to say Harvard was wrong. And also, as the judge has said, you cannot try to rectify that by stomping on other rights.
Harvard just made a deal like the other universities did.
But the problem is, what happens when those? One quick point. So they made deals, right? What happens when there's another anti-Semitic incident now on one of those campuses?
Then actually deal with it.
Oh,
brush it under the rug like Harvard did.
No. But you know what else is going to happen? There's going to be another threat.
Right.
You're going down a dangerous road with these deals.
You don't allow for anti-Semitism.
Right. I agree. But you were making.
Then you don't have to worry about that.
But you're making the point that each school was smart to make the deal.
Yeah.
And as a practical matter, in a short term, they were, but long term, I don't know because they can't control it.
I gotta let Nina have a word here. Go ahead.
No, Abby, your point is well taken. More than one thing can be true at the same time, and we just got to accept that.
Right.
And the judge made a ruling, so legally, the Trump administration will get a chance to appeal, and I agree with that.
Queen's Bodega named Gaza Deli and Grill ignites fear among Jewish New Yorkers, including October 7th survivor. I'm still not safe. Then fuck off. Okay, then fuck off. Leave the country. Okay, go back to Israel. The fuck do you mean you feel unsafe? Oh my God, the mere mention of Gaza. Like, this is what I mean. You're just a racist, dude. What are you talking about? It's like when racist white people, like Klansmen, being like, well, there's black people around and that makes me feel unsafe. Okay, that's a you problem. That's a you problem. You got to deal with that. You should be ashamed to openly. You should be ashamed. This is no different than a racist white supremacist saying, it scares me that black people are able to drink from the same water fountain. and it should be treated as such. So much of the pro-Israel fake hysteria, the cynical weaponization of anti-Semitism, comes from just straightforward anti-Arab, anti-Muslim sentiment, okay? It's just hatred through and through. And yet, we have, for far too long, allowed this kind of sentiment to continue as though it's a sincere request. When a Christian nationalist person turns around and says, it scares me that there are black people around me, you don't actually take that seriously. You go, shut the fuck up, you're racist. Suck my dick. But when someone goes, I'm Jewish and I am fearful as a Jew that Muslims are scary. They're using Muslim words. They're doing this, they're doing that. It scares me as a Jew. You're like, we just have to go, oh, okay, sorry. Oh, if it scares you, what can I do, my king? Like, what do you mean? You're just a racist. I don't give a shit if you're a Jewish racist or a Christian nationalist racist. You know what I mean? You're an ultra-Zionist and also a racist. Ultra-Zionism is racism anyway.
And as it goes up the chain, we will see what happens. But to a hammer, everything is a nail. And so I do not necessarily believe that the president, through his actions on this issue, really tried to work this out without penalty first. He went in to penalize first instead of saying, let's take care of this and get this right. I'm glad that Harvard admitted it, working to rectify it. Discrimination, racism, bigotry of any form should not be tolerated on any campus.